Hey y'all, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing my favorite video of every single month, and that is picking out my TBR. Every single month I pick out challenges out of this little jar, and they just help me pick books off of my shelves, my e-reader, all of those things to set a monthly TBR. If you have never watched one of these, I will link last month's up in the cards and down in the description box. There are just a whole bunch of random challenges in here. I usually pick about 8 of them. I'm kind of leaning towards that for March. I do add on additional books. If you follow me over on Instagram, I usually have a TBR of like 20 books. I am a TBR driven reader. I'm not a mood reader, so I always need a good list of books so that I can know what to pick up next. So without further ado, let's pick out March's TBR. Like always, I am going to participate in the Buzzword-a-thon as well as the Literally Dead Book Club, and this month they actually combine really well. So the buzzword for March is locations, and the Literally Dead Book Club pick is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. So I'm using this for the buzzword prompt. This is the 3rd book by this author. I've read all of their mystery thrillers so far and I really enjoy them, and this is another like locked door mystery. I love Lucy Foley's take on these. She always does such a good job, and this one follows a heroine who is going to move in with her brother, but when she shows up at his Paris apartment, he is not there, and she starts to investigate his disappearance, and all of the people in the apartment seem sketchy. So I'm really excited for this one. Paris is a location, so that is going to be my buzzword-a-thon. The only other thing as of right now that I am participating in is the magical readathon. It is a short week-long readathon, and there are only 2 prompts for this. I am going with an orb and the pocket dimension. So my 2 prompts are to read a book with a sun on the cover and to read an ebook. Let's start picking out some prompts and see what I'm going to read in March. Prompt number 1 is going to be this one, and this is to read a standalone. Okay, I have so many standalone arcs for March. I have something ridiculous like 10 arcs that I need to read in March, but I just really want to read Ecstasia by Claire Legrand. I just picked this up the day that I'm filming this. It came out today, but my Barnes & Noble had it out a couple days early, and this is her latest YA fantasy ish story. I never know what to label Claire Legrand's books like this, but I believe this is a fantasy. It is following this girl. It says, "All you must know is that today I become one of the 4 saints of Haven. The elders will mark me and place the red hood on my head. They will give me my true name, and with my sisters I will stand against the evil power that lives beneath the Black Mountain, an evil that has already killed 9 of our village's men. I will tell no one of the white-eyed beasts that follow me, or the faceless gray woman tall as houses, or the girls I saw kissing in the elm grove. Today I became a saint of Haven. I will rid my family of my mother's shame at last and save my people from destruction. I am not afraid. Are you?" I adore Claire Legrand's writing, and this book is thick. It's like 500 some pages, just shy of 500 pages. And so this might be a mistake, but I just really want to read this. So we're gonna put it on the March TBR. Prompt number 2 is, let's mix them up. I feel like I pick the same ones every single month because they feel different than the others or something. Let's go with, oh my god, these are stuck together. Let's go with this one. Oh, there's 2 in here. So I'm just gonna pick the outside one. And this is to read a light colored cover. For this one, I might be stretching this prompt a little bit, but I'm going to go with Sadie on a Plate by Amanda Elliott. This is a really like soft greenish blue color, so we're counting it. This is a romance story about a girl who was this like really high up chef in Seattle, but she had this really public blowout with her boss and she doesn't know what to do next. So she decides to go on to this cooking competition, and when she is on her flight there, she meets a guy on the plane, and it turns out that he is somebody involved with the competition and they need to hold off on their attraction to each other. So this one, I believe the heroine is Jewish. I do have this one as an arc, and I hope to get to it right away in March. Prompt number 3. Let's go with, all of these are stuck together. Let's go with this one. And this is a series continuation. I have put this on so many TBRs and I keep not reading it. So it's happening in March, and that is Moonstruck by Onley James. I don't know why I keep putting this one off. I got caught up in the Hades and Persephone retelling by Scarlett St. Clair, and so that kind of consumed my reading for part of March. And then I was prioritizing fantasy romance because of Faro Feb, and so I kept putting this one off because it didn't fit into any of those things. In March, it is happening. This is Atticus's story. This series follows a bunch of psychopaths, a family of psychopaths. There are 7 brothers for 7 deadly sins. They kill bad people and they are possessive romances, and I am obsessed with the series. So in March, it's happening. I'm finally continuing on with book 3. Book 4, I think, just released. So I need to read this so I can read book 4. Prompt number 4 is going to be, let's go with, I'm trying to like mix them up so I get new prompts. Let's go with this one. And this is a book that was recommended or hyped. All right, I feel like I have to go with Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I think this is another one that I had on my February TBR, or it was just kind of like on my radar for February. But I believe Riley from Riley Marie absolutely loved this book and gave it 5 stars. So I'm counting that as a recommendation. This is a romance between a werewolf, who I believe he can no longer shift, and his wolf is kind of going crazy. And so he goes to see a witch, and witches and wolves don't get along, and the witch agrees to help him be able to shift. That's all I know about it, and I believe it's kind of like a forbidden romance because they're not supposed to get along. But I believe this is a really like funny and lighthearted take on paranormal. So this is one that I'm really excited to read. It's not super long, so hopefully I can actually get to this one in March. Prompt number 5. I am not getting any of my like required reading on here. Hopefully we can fix that with these last couple. Prompt number 5 is, let's go with this one. Oh, again, I have 2. Let's go with this one. This one is to read an ebook. Perfect. This is one of the prompts for the Magical Readathon. And for this, I am most likely going to go with an arc, because I have a lot of those. For this, I am going to go with, I originally gave the wrong title. It is If You Ask Me by Libby Huscher. This is another adult rom-com story, and in this we are following a woman who writes for an advice columnist, and she is known for giving like really good like advice for how to like properly handle situations, but she ends up finding out that her husband was cheating on her, and so she takes out all of her anger and aggression in her column, and her column ends up going viral. She ends up burning all of her husband's stuff on the lawn. A steamy firefighter shows up, and I believe it is their romance, and this just sounds really cute. This cover is so cute, and I'm just really excited to read this one. This one comes out March 8th, so it comes out super soon, so we need to get to it pretty early on in March. Prompt number 6 is, let's go with this one. This is only one this time. I keep picking multiples. And this is a 2022 arc. We've really turned this around. For this one, I'm gonna go with A League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. This is the follow-up to The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. This is kind of like a companion book, so it's set in the same Victorian fantasy world, but we're following totally new characters. And this one follows a witch and a pirate, and the two of them have to work together to get this magical item. And I really love the witty humor and like quirkiness of this series, and I'm just so excited to get to this arc. I gave the last one 5 stars, so I'm really hoping I give this one 5 stars as well. Prompt number 7, let's go with this one. This one's bent, so it might be one I read before. And this is a book that is set in the past. Okay, I am stretching this prompt just a little bit, and I'm gonna go with The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. This is told in dual timelines. Part of the story is set in the past and part of it is set in 2017. So like technically both parts are set in the past, just one is more in the past than the other. So this is Simone St. James's newest thriller, and I love Simone St. James. She's probably my favorite thriller author, maybe, but this one is following a podcaster or blogger, I don't remember which one. She does stories about like serial killers and murders, and in the 70s I believe there was this really famous murder, and 2 men who seemed totally unrelated were murdered in the exact same way, and this woman Beth was seen fleeing from one of the crime scenes, but there wasn't enough evidence, so she ended up being acquitted. And now the podcaster, blogger, whatever, is coming to interview her, and they are staying at her super creepy mansion. I love stories that kind of play with like haunted houses and whether or not things are paranormal or real and timelines and all those things. And it seems like all of that is packed into this story, and so I am super, super excited. This is one of the books that I will be vlogging for my 22 books to read in 2022. If you haven't seen the last one, I will link it down below, up in the cards, all those things. And then the final prompt is going to be, I want to get a good one for this last one. Let's go with this one. And this is to read a contemporary story. For this one, I am going to go with the book that also fits for my last magical prompt, which was to read a book with a sun on the cover, and that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. If you can see down at the bottom, one side has a moon and one side has a sun. We're counting it. It's teeny tiny, but it counts. This is the latest contemporary story by this author. I do believe this has a slight fantasy element, but I don't know what it is or how prevalent it is. But I think in here we are following a surgeon who is trying to be like the top of her field, and she ends up meeting this small town guy, and they have this really amazing chemistry and connection, but she just doesn't see how she can give him everything that he wants out of a relationship while still prioritizing her career. And so I think it is an exploration of how do you choose where to give your time and things like that. I've heard such amazing things about this book. This is going to be my first book by this author. I wasn't super interested in her previous series. I have heard really good things about her writing, so I'm excited to give this one a read, and we're hitting 2 prompts with 1 book. So works out perfect. I think that is it for the big things. I do have a couple of other arcs. I have I Am Margaret Moore by Hannah Kaplan, City of Dusk by Tara Sim. I have Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May, A Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft, and The Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller or Miller. I'm not sure which way to pronounce that. So those are the other arcs that I do have. I'm really excited about this TBR, even though I have 3 physical books that aren't like for review or anything, but I am excited to just have some books to read for fun. I'm always prioritizing like the review books and stuff that I have, so it's gonna be nice to get to some of these just books that aren't for anything other than I really want to read them. So that is going to be it for this TBR. Let me know what you are reading this month, if any of the books that I talked about are on your TBR. As always, I'm always open to buddy reads, so if you are excited about any of these books and you want to read them together, send me a message. You can comment down below or go over to my Instagram and DM me, but I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!